The 2021 Baltimore Ravens. Is it going to be a Super Bowl contending roster, or is it going to look like the Tales of Horror? What do you think? What do you think, Ian, is the most difficult game on the Baltimore Ravens schedule? I mean, we can always say it's the Chiefs. And listen,
Yeah.
Vegas, you're right. It's the Chiefs. Let's look outside of the Chiefs, because we can talk about the Chiefs every single time, every single team that plays them. What do you think is the most difficult game on their roster outside of that football game?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we've gone through these AFC North teams, and they all play. I think most of them play the Chiefs, and all of them play the Browns twice. And I think those are the games that you look at first, right? I mean, the Chiefs. If you don't have the Chiefs as the toughest game, you're probably going to have at the Browns, because the Browns did get a lot better these past 2 years. They come into this year, everything is a projection at this point. But I think they have a top 5, maybe even top 3 roster in the league. They are stacked. It's okay to admit it, Ravens fans. The Browns are here. But now you need to match up to that challenge and show that, hey, we're the big dogs still. We're the established presence here. But the Browns are tough for sure. Baker Mayfield heading into year 2 with Kevin Stefanski has a lot. His offensive line, again, we just got to say it's one of the best in the league, and that defense is loaded with talent. A lot of guys coming back from injury in the secondary, like Grant Delpit. You got Greg Newsome in the first round, Troy Hill in free agency. A lot of pieces are coming together for the Browns. And they're going to be a tough team. You play them twice, so there is that war of attrition aspect too, where who can wear the other one down. So I look at that too. You could pick the Rams as well, but I think you have to look at the Chiefs and Browns first.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go a little bit outside of the box here. They have a stretch of Browns, Steelers, Browns, and then Packers. So they have 3 divisional games right in a row, and then the Packers. And so for that reason, I'm going to have the Packers at home as their most difficult game of the season. Now, obviously, they're playing teams like the Browns and the Chiefs that we might look at it as better teams than the Packers. You might not. You might think that the Packers, especially if they do retain Aaron Rodgers or talk him into playing football this year, they will be a difficult team to beat. What is the one game that you sit down and say, I got to watch that football game? You can name the Chiefs for this one. I'm not going to.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, man. I'm going with the Browns again. I'm going at the Browns week 14 because, again, these are 2 teams in the same division. The AFC North, always one of the funnest divisions in the league. And you look at these 2 teams going to be in the playoff conversation at this point. And I'm looking at the Browns. They're really trying to take that leap and take hold of the AFC North. The Ravens might be. With the Steelers, we've talked about it before, that roster isn't quite as good as we're accustomed to seeing it being. So the Ravens might be the last bastion between the Browns and AFC North supremacy. So you might be looking at that game, the last game between the 2 teams for them, as the game where the Ravens have to assert their dominance here. And it's a fun matchup, honestly, though. I mean, the Browns in the trenches, both of these teams are pretty decently strong. I think the Browns are stronger in the trenches, but I do think that the Ravens secondary is one of the best in the league. And you look at the Browns receiving core, it's not one of the best in the league. It's a little bit lower. I thought that they should have put a greater emphasis on receiver in the NFL draft. They didn't. And we'll see if that lack of weaponry hurts them against a very good back 7 in the Ravens. So I'm really interested to see what happens there. 2 teams vying for divisional victory. Who gets the edge there? I think that's the game. Looking at the storylines, looking at the talent, how it all meshes together, that's what stands out in my mind.
Listen, I agree with you 100%. It's impossible not to. The AFC North is so much fun to watch, but I'm going to disagree with you because I want to watch the Chiefs offense and the Ravens offense go at each other for 60 minutes. The Ravens, obviously, like you said, they have a good secondary. The Chiefs, outside of Tyreek Hill, their offensive weaponry, obviously they have Travis Kelce as well, but he's not a receiver per se. So I'm very excited to see those 2 offenses square off. That's the game that I'm circling on the calendar that I have to sit down and watch. It is Sunday Night Football, 8:20 in week 2. So everybody in the country is going to be sitting down to watch it anyways. For you, what is the most defining game of the season for the Ravens?
Honestly, man, I picked Cleveland again for this. I'm sorry, man. It's too much there, but I'm going to go with a different one. I think the Rams in week 17 could be another one. These are 2 teams, not even in the same conference, but both of them are, I think if you ask me what are the 2 toughest divisions in football, I would probably answer the NFC West and the AFC North, honestly. I mean, both of these are very tough divisions, and both of these teams are going to have a lot on the line, even if they're very far apart, coast to coast. They're far apart, but really the storylines might match up here. I think the Ravens and the Rams are both teams that might be competing for first in the division. If you are, then winning this game, even though they're not in the same conference, even though it might not have many tiebreaker implications, still going to be a big game for getting that extra game over your opponent in the division. So I think that looking at the Rams and the Ravens too, I mean, I think we brought it up in our Rams video, but again, two of the better secondaries in the league. Very exciting matchup, offense to offense, Lamar Jackson and Greg Roman versus Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. I'm very excited to see how that one plays out, and it could have implications in the postseason. So that's another one I would bring up.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be, and that's a very good one, that they could very well both be fighting for, not playoff contention per se, because I think that those are two teams that you expect to be fighting for the playoffs. But for the division in the AFC North against the Cleveland Browns. For me, we could talk about the Browns this entire time when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm actually going to go with the Miami Dolphins in Week 10. Thursday Night Football, it's at Miami. I think that, when I talk about these defining games in the other videos, I've really gone to some of these games that you expect these football teams to win, and they have to win them if they are going to fight for whatever top side of the positioning that they are looking for. And so for me, it's the Miami Dolphins, a team that I think is on the up and up. They are an improving football team, but I still think the Baltimore Ravens should and have to beat them in Week 10. Once again, let us know in the comments. Do you think that it's going to be a great year for the Baltimore Ravens, or do you think it is going to be a tale of horrors in Baltimore?